Hi, good afternoon, ladies. My name is Riddhi Parikh Mehta. I belong to an organization called Leaderonomics. That's what we are. And welcome so much to this chat. Leaderonomics is a leadership development organization. We work with organizations, individuals to develop leaders for the future. So we're here to talk about women returning to work. We have a bunch of questions, but let me just put something out there first for us. What does career mean to all of us, and what does it define for us? I think career is a part of us, a fairly integral part of us, but yet indeed a part of us, and not our whole selves. I think that's the first thing that we should all remember. It's critical for us because it provides various elements, whether it's a sense of satisfaction, a sense of purpose and meaning to our lives. It also provides livelihood, it provides us camaraderie, it provides us a social environment in which we get together with each other. So career is not in isolation about chasing the next promotion, chasing the next increment, finding the next job. No, it's not that. I think it's a more holistic piece which is there for us. And when you find your career, keep that in perspective. It's a part of you, an integral part of you, providing various elements to you. And yet your identity is beyond that. It's beyond the roles that we define for ourselves. Careers bring to us also its set of challenges, everything from, do we know how to do our jobs right? Do we know how to deliver? Is there pressure? How do I deliver against the pressure? So it brings us, all of those elements as well. It also brings us an opportunity to showcase our strengths, which is why to choose the right career, it's critical that we play to our strengths, play to our interest areas. So the studies, the degrees, the graduation, the post-graduation, the PhD, certifications, all of that determine what career we choose. And then beyond that, we find an area which we truly and passionately believe about. I work in the field I work in because I love working with people to see that there is a huge potential in each one of us to get the best out of us. So at Leaderonomics, we work with individuals for their organizations, but we work with them so that they can bring out the best in them. And that gives me immense satisfaction. It gives me the rest of the stuff of camaraderie, friends, money, and so on, but it gives me the sense of fulfillment as well. And that's the right way to move about your career. I'm going to pause a bit, look at a couple of questions, and come back to some more of my thoughts. So the first question we have over here is from Hamida. It says, I graduated in BBM. I've done my master's in commerce. It's over a year and a half and fresher, and I'm not employed. And what should I do and where can I apply? Hamida, what you would want to do is find the kind of company that you'd want to work at. And when I say the kind of company, it includes what's the product or the business that they are in. If it's a product that does not connect with you or resonate with you, or you don't believe in it, you will not be able to do 100% there. So first, find the place that you truly believe in their product, in what they're offering to their customers. Second, look at their culture. Is that the culture that you want to work in? Do you like it? Is it feisty and aggressive enough that you want to be a part of it? Or you find it, no, that's not what I want to do. I want something where there is more bonhomie, where there is opportunities to collaborate a lot more. Is that the kind of place you want? So that's another choice. So look at the different parameters of culture of an organization, because we spend more waking time with our workplace colleagues than we spend at times with our family. So on an average day, you're spending 8 to 10 hours in office with your colleagues. It's important that the environment that you're in resonates with you. Whether you're a fresher or otherwise, let me tell you, when I started working after my post-graduation, I was a fresher. I didn't have a day's work experience before that. And I think that worked to my advantage because I did not have any inhibitions in asking questions. I did not have any reservations on taking on any kinds of assignment that was put my way. So if you keep yourself open and you find the right workplace, that will be like the match made in heaven for you. It's not easy to find jobs. There are various elements that are needed. You need to go out network, you need to put your CV in the right place, you need to prepare yourself for an interview, you need to research the industry. So all of that with your hard work also is required. My recommendation would be to find your interest area, find the kind of company that you want to work hard towards it and get the match made. Okay, Nikita says, I want to work from home. I have an 8-month-old baby. I worked as a teacher before. I went on break. What do you think are the right choices for me at this time? Nikita, congratulations on the baby. I think parenting is a beautiful journey, a huge roller coaster, but a great journey to be on. So congratulations to your family and you for the baby. Being a teacher teaches you a lot of fundamental skills. Apart from the fact that you have the knowledge to teach your class, it teaches you perseverance, it teaches you the ability to work with different kinds of temperaments, different skill levels of different students in a classroom. So while you're at home, perhaps when you put the baby down for a nap, sit down with a sheet of paper, put down all the skills that you know that you have built as a teacher. Basis those, back to the same thing I said before, which is of interest. Check your interest levels. Do you like writing? Today content writing is a huge opportunity. Do you like teaching? Could you do, there are so many opportunities to teach online. You don't have to leave your house. There are lots of organizations that want you to create content to teach online. And you've been a teacher, you know how to do that. So that is an opportunity. You could do jobs around telemarketing, anything that does not need you to leave home if that's your priority. Of course, there are places you can leave your child at a safe daycare and go out to work, but if the priority is to be around, then these are several opportunities. The first thing would be to look inward and look at your strengths, and as a teacher, I'm sure you build immense strengths. Okay, so that's for Nikita. Mamta says, I was in sales for 2.5. I'm guessing it's 2.5 years. And then I moved laterally to customer service. It's still sales facing. I'm currently on a break. I want to do business development when I return. I'm feeling indecisive and fickle-minded. I think as women, we judge ourselves a whole lot. Okay, and I don't think other people are concerned so much about us. I do that. I'm guilty of it myself. So I completely connect with you, Mamta. Indecisiveness gives us the flexibility to stay open. There is a beautiful article, and I'm sure there are many others. You can go to Leaderonomics.com, and there's actually a very simple infograph, and I like it. I call it a beautiful article because it's really short and quick. It talks about how we take a decision. Now, you could be a linear decision maker where you pick various factors that influence your decision, do a go, no go on each one, saying, do I want to be in sales? Yes. Do I want to do sales, which is B2B, B2C? So you go through various parameters of your decision-making process, go yes, no, yes, no, make a flow chart and arrive at your decision. That's one way to decide. The other way to decide is a more intuitive style to decide, where you say, I liked that piece. When I was doing sales for X kind of company, I enjoyed that. I got great success there. I was able to convert the clients that I wanted to. I got great client feedback. That's the kind of place I want to be. And then you describe the place. So the place was B2B sales, or was it B2C sales? The place was 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of an industry. The place was some place that gave you a lot of autonomy. So back to the first bit that I started off with, which is about also assess the culture of the company. What kind of place do you want to work in? What kind of environment do you want to work in? The names, the brands, the tags don't matter. It matters what you're going to like. So do some thinking around what kind of decision you want to do. Use one of the methods, either go very linear in decision making, go intuitive in decision making, go with your gut at the end of it, but take some steps to take a decision. If you feel that you are indecisive, once you've decided, go the entire way to implement it. So if you decide, I'm going to get a job in this industry, this kind of a role, go all out to get yourself that. I'm sure you will. Try it out for some time. 2 years, 3 years later, you could always evaluate it again. So it's not an end road, but you definitely need to go the full extent to know whether your decision works for you or not. Otherwise, you'll be in this indecisive space for a long time. So all the best to you for that, Mamta. Deepika, even though I've pursued my education in commerce, due to my parents' choices, my heart seems to steer towards art. What can I do now to bridge this gap? Are there courses or diplomas that I can take up? Sure, Deepika, there is ample that you can study. I think from the times that I studied, which is several years ago to now, there is immense opportunity to shift careers and zoom in, zoom out between roles. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was in human resources. I graduated from a premier HR institute called Tata Institute of Social Sciences, a brilliant organization to lay foundation. Worked in human resources for several years in great companies. I was in Johnson & Johnson for a long time, and fairly, about I think 10 or years later, I moved to frontline sales. Now that was a completely different shift and did not have any connection with human resources. But as a leader, there are fundamental elements on how is it that you approach your work, and those are the principles I use there. So you want to move from commerce to arts, you can do that. You can go the route to do courses and diplomas, and I quite like that route. But I have to share with you something that I learned day before night when I met one of my professor, rather our dean from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, an extremely wise gentleman who spoke about how sometimes studies and schooling and colleging and university and so on can get very boxing and limited. So you have two routes to go. You can do courses and diplomas, or you can take up the job of your choice and learn on the go. Several researchers will show us that learning happens maximum when we are on the job. So 70% of our learning happens when we are on the job. And if arts is the place where your calling is, define art. Is it fine art? Is it art with subjects like economics, psychology, and so on? So define which one it is, and perhaps you work for some time, so perhaps make a shift. You could always do concurrent courses, diplomas. Let that not be the reason for you not to make the shift. You can find courses online. I think it's one of the most effective ways to concurrent studies. At some point in time, if you want to take a break from working and do a full-time course, that's okay. You may want to start working first and then look at courses. Can you suggest some technical courses apart from Tally SQL, which is a requirement with my education and also are in trend? I think that's a follow-up question from Hamida. So Hamida, we know that you've done BBM and commerce. You can do, once again, it would be about what's the kind of work that you want to do. So today, technology courses have a huge amount of element, everything from machine learning to artificial intelligence to robotics, and there's no field where that can be restricted. So all of those skills are important, but merely to gather multiple certificates would not be of help. So what I would recommend is define what kind of career you want, and then identify which courses that you want to take. If it is accounting is a kind of job that you want to do, then yes, sure, Tally, SAP, those are softwares that you will have to learn. You could do that when you start working as well, is how I would recommend that. Okay. I'm going to just take some more questions. At the same time, I just want to talk about the need to focus on a skill building on a regular basis. Now, when you want to make the right career choice, you also need to be armed with the right tools that are there for you. So it's certifications, it's experiences, but it is the focus on continuous learning agility. And this phrase is borrowed from a very dear friend of mine. So she spoke of how she's building continuous learning agility in her team, and I thought it was extremely meaningful. And the learning can happen from various elements. If you follow me on LinkedIn, or if you follow the Leaderonomics.com portal, you'll see many of us write about our lessons from Netflix shows, movie shows. I don't think learning needs to be restricted to going to an institute, but learning needs to come from our own need to learn. Learning opportunities are based on observations everywhere around. Go ahead, explore that, and see what you can gather. It is also extremely important to periodically set time aside to reflect. Now, this is quiet time. You get up early in the morning, maybe at 6 o'clock if your house starts at 6:30, at 7 o'clock if your house starts at 7:30, whatever. Get up in the morning, make yourself a cup of tea, coffee, or warm water, whatever be your beverage. Sit down with it. Think of what's happened in the previous day, previous week. What are you looking forward to in the coming day? These pauses help us think about what are things that we want to learn. I have a baby and I'm finding it difficult to work. And I've been through that. I quit working when my son was about 9-10 months, and I had all support from my in-laws. And I think I'm blessed with the kind of folks I have around me, whether it's my parents, in-laws, husband, siblings. I think they all supported, but I was exhausted being a new mother, and I was exhausted being a professional, and I just needed to take time off. And I think while the break was short, it was I think about 5 or 7 months, it did me great good. But I had to take that decision for myself and saying, everybody, it seemed so contrary to what everyone was doing, because everybody who had little children wanted to come back to work, and me here with all the support, I wanted to quit working. And I looked at myself very negatively. I said, you're being so wrong, and look at all these other people who are trying so hard to work, and you're giving up on yourself. And I said all those things to myself, which really didn't help me in any way. It made me feel worse about myself. And then on quiet mornings like that, in fairly sleep-deprived state, many of us would be young mothers or had been young mothers at some time. We know the kind of early days of parenting. And in that sleep-deprived state, I said, if this is what I feel, then this is what I feel. If I feel that I need a break, I will take it, and I will see what happens then. The world was kind to me. I worked extremely hard, and I'm back with a good career today. So it is important to reflect, because that's when you make your right career choices. Otherwise, you keep running with the flow without realizing at what point in time are you burnt out, at what point in time do you not have identity around your own career. So those elements come in your way. So make time for active reflection, which is reflect, think, take notes either on Evernote on your phone, or a paper pen, or drawing art, whichever be your way of taking note. Take those notes and then compile those over a few days, and then review that again. That will be an active way to reflect. So it's not just one-time exercise, but daily is ideal. I don't manage to do that. Try at least weekly. I think that's what I am at, but daily is great. If you can get to daily, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of reflection, it would do wonders. I'm working towards it. If I get there, I would let all of you know on some other time and forum, but yes, that's the way to go. Okay, next question. I'm currently working with a company and I want to switch as my work-life balance is not good in this company. Plus the environment is becoming stressful. I'm looking for job opportunities in Bangalore. You are lucky, Kamakshi. Bangalore is a thriving hub of lots of industries, lots of job opportunities. I know work lives are stressful. And I think stress needs to be looked at in a context. Steve Jobs said, if you love your work, then you enjoy it, and if not, it feels like stress and burden. And if that's what it feels like, then it is time to part ways with that workplace. Maybe another place would work very well. However, what you need to know is, are you really sure there's a workplace which is sending out those stress signals or the stress triggers? What do I mean by that? Is the workplace causing the stress? Is the distance to the workplace causing the stress? Is the traffic in Bangalore? And I thought I'm from Mumbai, and I thought Mumbai was bad, but Bangalore's worst. Okay, is the traffic in Bangalore causing stress? So identify that, so that when you choose your next job, should you stay back, you stay back. But even if you choose the next job, you make sure that is plugged. If while right now you're feeling stressed, but part of the stress is the distance to the workplace, and you can't come back home on time, or you're spending more time on the road than doing productive work in office, you need to make sure that the next workplace is not landing you up in a similar situation. However, when you face stress, it's important to get out of the stress scenario. Stress releases the wrong hormones in our body. It deters us from effective performance. So identify the cause, the manager, the job, the workplace culture, distance, your frustrations. You need to identify that. And once again, the active reflection would help you identify those causes, gives you that quiet time to look at what those causes are. So make sure your next job change, role change, or continuation also in this job plugs that stress point. Okay. Anu says, I'm a fresher just out of college. I've done my arts major in journalism and mass communication. extremely noble career to be in journalism. If I know you can do justice to it, and I'm sure you would. What are the career choices that I have except the typical ones? Today, I believe that education gives us a certain starting platform. It does not necessarily define our entire career. So I like the question that you put out saying, I don't want the usual one. Can I look for something above and beyond? Yes, today communication has become a completely unique field. There is social media, there is digital media. Today, TV watching habits have changed entirely. So let me again share a little bit from personal experience. It's been about 3.5, 4 years. We've not had cable TV at home because Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, that's what we're watching. So, so life has evolved completely, and how you share news nuggets has changed. The format has changed. First, video news sharing was only TV news channels. Today, we know that these options are plenty. There are YouTubers who create meaningful content from live news or real information that's taking place around us. That's a career. There is a huge importance on, what is the maturity with which journalists and media communicate, what is the sensitivity with which they communicate. That's another option. There are various options around. Can you do training for those people? Can you actually be delivering those news? Can you start a YouTube channel? Can you start an institute of your own for people to learn these things? Those are the kind of options that you can explore. So your degree would help you over there, and then it opens up all related fields. Communication as an industry is exploding tremendously. We have a last couple of minutes. I'm going to do my best to answer almost all the questions. While the comments load, let me leave you with some references also. Very young, and since many of you are just finishing your graduation studies, there is a book called What Color Is My Parachute? This it's like a fat book that I referred to when I was finishing studies, and it gives a beautiful framework to look at ourselves at the center and the whole career element around us, everything from the kind of workplace to the kind of career we want to build, the finances around it, the technology with which we want to work, how long do we wish to work, and more. And the book is fairly descriptive. There is an associated workbook as well. And this, I'm not marketing or selling this book, and I have no connection with them. I do not know what's in print over there right now, but I know the book was around since legacy. A friend of mine had introduced me to the book. And at various points in my career, I think for the first about 6 or 7 years of my career, I used that book as a reference guide to go back to every time I wanted to take either a role change within the company or a job change outside the organization. And that structured exercise has played a very foundation role for me. Now I have simplified that into making just a 2x2 of pros and cons for every career or job option that I have, and I just say, okay, what are the pros for this, what are the cons, and I take my decision. But What Color Is Your Parachute was a book that shaped my career decisions in early years, and I'm very happy to share if it is of any use and benefit to anybody else. Okay, on that note, it's time up for me. I had a lot of fun interacting with all of you, and all the very best for your career choices. Good luck for 2020 and for times ahead. Thank you.